Hello. I would like to give some comment on the Latin liturgy because I have an experience that might give you some different insights. I go to church every week, and it's in Hungarian. And uh, sometimes when I started going there, I didn't understand what was happening. So I had a book that told me basically what's happening in the liturgy, in the Mass. And I'm not against people wanting to celebrate traditional Mass, but sometimes when you don't understand what's happening, it's really hard to know what you're supposed to do and to follow along. So, for example, I was standing there and I had no idea what was happening. I had my book, which helped me navigate the whole Mass, like the first reading, second reading, and then when we're supposed to respond to the priest with something, then over time I would memorize the steps that led up to certain prayers that we speak. This is in Slovak, by the way. So every time I would go and the Hungarian people would say something, I would memorize or remember roughly where we are so that I can respond quietly in my language. Because I don't understand Hungarian, and most of them do understand Slovak, but they don't understand very much. But I don't understand Hungarian at all. So, why is this related to the Latin debate? Well, from what I've seen, I've tried to do some small research on this, where this issue about not understanding what's happening wasn't raised and that there's some sort of persecution. But from what I've read about this, it seems like it was only limited a little and required a request to perform the traditional Latin Mass. Which, I mean, sure, but Pope Benedict, I forgot the number, apparently wanted everyone to be freely to do this. So when I imagine how much trouble I had initially in my church when everything was Hungarian and I had to memorize and have hard uh, have I had a hard time following along. So if you had the Latin liturgy every other week, then nobody would be able to learn Latin. And I think it's important for people to know what is being said and not just uh, recite something, and then go home and do whatever. Understanding what you're saying should be important. So I don't know why people are so uppity about this, because if suppose that traditional Latin Mass was uh, everywhere just because the priest wanted it, who would know Latin properly enough to respond and mean what they say and comprehend their own words, because or like everyone knows uh, the prayer, "Oh Father who art thou in heaven." Oh, I have it in Slovak. See, I don't even know properly the English version of that prayer. Father in heaven, you know what I mean. But Yeah, that's kind of the whole point. I mean, if you could memorize it, sure, but can you really mean it when you don't understand the words? I had a I had a prayer that's completely in Hungarian, and I to this day I have no idea what it says. And every time I would just try to follow along, but this whole thing is in Hungarian. I have no clue what it says, but I was praying it with people, and I don't think uh, that's right. You know, it's just I roughly remember how to pronounce these words, but I don't know what this prayer is. I have no idea. I prayed it, and can I really mean it when I don't know what it says? I can rely on God to understand, but when I don't understand, what am I even saying? You know, just so it's okay. I mean, to occasionally have a traditional Latin mass if people really want it, but it needs to be understandable by people so that they can respond appropriately, so they can participate. Because otherwise, you're just kind of standing there and you don't know what's happening, and you kind of just follow along and recite this stuff, and you're thinking about your own stuff. How are you going to go home and do whatever you wanted to do? And well, now I have to say this. No, okay, I'm saying this. Well, it's not great. It's so limiting it is fine in my opinion. I'm not against it. Again, I don't think people should be prevented from doing it. Just not every time, and you gotta make sure you understand what you're saying. How can you mean what you say when you don't know what you're saying? You know, what's the point then? Eye candy is nice, but the heart is more important in this case. You need to get it in your head what you're saying and practice what you're saying and what you believe and such, and not use the Latin as an excuse to kind of avoid thinking about what those things actually mean, and what you're supposed to say and what it all means, as a means to not think about Jesus, and just say the things and, oh, it's also nice. Yeah, it's nice. Not saying it's not. I don't think I've ever had experienced a traditional Latin mass, and I would like to, but I wouldn't be able to participate normally. Like, I would be able to recite something, but unless everyone knows Latin properly, you know. I read the letters from Pope Francis where this was mentioned, where it was limited, and it required a request. I think I have it open here, maybe somewhere in my history. And thank you for listening to my ramblings, and I hope you have a blessed day. Bye bye.